Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here. It is Thursday the 9th of May. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. Now, what I always say is, I know, but we do have new viewers every day, so just to remind them that the site's get free of charge by the adverts that you see around the screen here. By you coming back and using the site and using the adverts, it means that we can keep the site completely free of charge. We can do these videos and we can keep updating the charts for you as well. So thanks for doing that. Alright, so on with the forecast, and today we're going to kick off with the 7 to 10 day means of the 500 millibar flow. We've got the ECMWF on the left here, the GFS on the right. Those of you who watch regularly will be familiar with these by now. Quite interesting that both are showing the trough through the British Isles look at day 7 to 10, which is from next Thursday through to Sunday the 19th. Now, a bit of a discrepancy between the two. GFS has got this ridge in the Atlantic, but just look how the ECMWF has got the ridge in the Atlantic, but just look at how the GFX accentuates that ridge and also the trough coming off the eastern coast of the States. Now, of interest too is that ridge that's there over the western parts of Russia and Scandinavia, because all this indicates to me that this trough is going to be cut off as it tries to sink southeastwards, and this ridge will probably come back over the top. Now, the GFS ensemble forecast is kind of hinting at that sort of pattern as well. Temperatures remain fairly steady, look, through the next 16 days or so. But notice how we see this kind of build-up in rainfall, then it falls off, then we get a build, it falls off, build, falls off, etc., etc. And look how we do it again through the outlook period. And what this is indicating is that we're going to get hit by periods of rain, but they'll tend to come through and then fade away, and then another one will come and they'll fade away. And I think this is typical of the flow going back into more of an easterly direction. It's just one of the patterns that you look for in charts, really, when you look for the overall flow pattern going into a certain direction. Now, we're going to find low pressure dominating during the next week or so, and of course I'll give you detail about what weather that's going to bring during the forecast, but it's just interesting to see how things develop towards the end of the month. This is something that we've been focusing on, and this is the chart from the ECMWF for the 19th of May. So this is the chart now going forward to Sunday the 19th, and you can see here low pressure centred just off the east coast of the UK, but what's more important I want you to notice from this pattern is the ridge in the Atlantic, the trough through here, look, and then the ridge coming over the top again. The winds are doing this, and these heights are building back into the west constantly, marking this pattern that I was telling you about high pressure building to the north. And if you watched the videos a few days ago, you'll know that we were talking about the analogues doing a similar thing. Now, this is the ECMWF ensemble. Yes, it doesn't have the detail of the low there, but the overall pattern is similar. Here's the ridge in the Atlantic, here's the trough through the British Isles, and here's the ridge coming back over the top once again. So similar situation shown from the ECMWF ensemble. And if we take a look at the Canadian, again, haven't got the detail of the low pressure, but there is a low here and there's one out here towards the west. But again, look, here's the ridge out to the west, here's the trough, not marked quite so much, but here's the ridge coming up and over the top. And finally, the GFS ensemble, and again, here's our ridge. It tends to smooth things out, remember, the GFS, but here's the trough, here's the ridge, building back over the top there. So all of these indications are just building towards this idea of the flow going more into an easterly with a high pressure building towards the north. However, what these latest models are doing is keeping the low pressure a little bit further north, and what that would do is bring more unsettled conditions across southern parts of the country during the end of the month. And if we just look at the MJO, this is kind of confirming it too. This is the MJO from the ECMWF, and notice that we're in phase 2 just at the present time, and we go though into phase 4. So this is the chart issued on the valid from the 7th of May. So this is the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th are in there, where it sees us going into phase 4. And phase 4 is more the westerly. So this, as we get to the 14th, is the idea of the low pressure coming through, these westerly winds starting to dominate. Then it takes us into phase 5 look. So we're going to pick up 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, takes us into phase 5. And phase 5 is actually a bit nondescript. Phase 5 tends towards a negative NAO, which is an easterly, but it also tends into a trough across Central Europe and the southern parts of the UK with high pressure towards the north. So this is what the ECMWF MJO is seeing as well. This is the Madden-Julian oscillation. So that's what it's seeing too. And the interesting thing is, look, it ceased phase 5 and then just pulls it straight into neutral territory. So once this gets in, it's actually saying, well, look, when this pattern is established, there's not going to be much change. And the rainfall figures are normally a good indicator as to how much change there's likely to be. This is the rainfall from day 1 to day 5. This is ending 6 o'clock in the morning next Tuesday. And you notice how most of the rainfall is out here towards the west. We've got typically 20 to 40 millimetres of rain here. Less across the other areas, across eastern and southern parts of the country, typically 10 to 15 mil. Then from 6 o'clock in the morning next Tuesday through to 6 in the morning on Sunday, again, most places across the country look typically between about 12 and 20 millimetres of rain to come. So really, we're going to be seeing reasonable amounts of rainfall during that next 5-day period. And then in the final period, day 11 to day 15, which takes us from the Sunday through to Friday the 24th, less rainfall, you'll notice, towards the north and also running down these eastern coast, southern parts of England here. More across these western areas, probably from showers. So typical values of 5 to 10 mil here, more so 10 to 15 mil, less again across western coast. But imagine this is an easterly wind that's feeding in at this time. And this is the indication of the trough probably being somewhere in here, with the ridge building across the top up here by then. And the CFS is picking up on that too. This is the anomaly forecast from the CFS for week 1, taking us through to the 15th of May. And look, you notice the trough here across the British Isles in week 1. Now if we go to week 2, then again, here's the trough. This is taking us up to the 22nd of May. Here's the trough, but look at the ridge here towards the east with high pressure here, and the ridge out towards the west, high pressure there. And then if we take a look at week 3, this is taking us from the 23rd of May to the 29th. Look, still at the ridge out towards the east, so still got high pressure here. We've still got a trough through the British Isles, but it's almost split by this ridge here. So we get a section of the trough to the south, a section of the trough to the north, low pressure here, low pressure here. This perhaps brings some rain across more southern areas, but we're under the influence of an easterly flow across more northern parts. So this is this idea of the dry weather for most of the country, but outbreaks of rain down towards the south. And then into week 4, well, through week 4, the indications that the high look stays out towards the east across Scandinavia. So we've got our ridge in here, but look, here's the trough that's down across much of Europe. Of course, it doesn't look like that. There's the ridge that's up towards the north. Let's say that. This is the jet stream that's coming through here. Ignore what I'm saying here. The jet stream further south, we've got the high pressure up towards the north. That brings in easterly winds across the country. And again, many areas dry, but the southern parts, again, liable to some rain, particularly Southern Ireland, southwest and southern parts of England. So at the moment, the forecast story is stacking up. We're getting confirmation sort of day on day that this is the way that we're going to go for the final third of May, which is good news in a way, and also I suppose good news for many of you who are awaiting rain, because I know that many of you were desperate to get some reasonable rain, although you certainly didn't want a washout. Not great news for those of you who are trying to sail and fly, particularly across more southern parts of the country, but if you're in the north or the west, then things not looking that bad. So, hopefully that's useful for you. Of course, I'll update you again tomorrow. But for now, thanks again for watching. Remember, we're kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen, and by you coming back and using the site is what keeps us free of charge. So, thank you for doing that, and whatever you're doing today, have a great day, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.